This is it, Ken, isn't it, tonight for both these hockey clubs, or it sure feels that way?
Yeah, absolutely, Kipper. Thanks for having me, you and Bourne. Yeah, definitely. If it's not a Game 7, it feels like it's win or go home here, even though it's not technically that. But the Jets have a 2-point lead, but really it's 3 because they have the tiebreaker. If they win in regulation to put the Flames essentially 5 back with 3 to play, that is an awfully steep hill to climb, given the fact that they will only have 3 games left. So definitely expecting a lot of intensity and urgency from both clubs. And it'll be interesting, Kipper, the biggest question for me, can the Jets deliver the knockout punch? They were able to get themselves in order with a 12-goal weekend and a couple of wins after a tough stretch, but this is something that, we learn a lot about teams at this time of year, and this is the first opportunity for the Jets to really, they've got their opponent on the ropes, and let's see if they can deliver a sneaky left cross instead of the right hand that everyone's looking for.
Well, we're certainly excited about it, and in trying to tee up the game, would love to just get an overview of where the Jets are at right now, how they've come to this point, in your opinion. I know at one point a few months ago, it seemed like they were all but a lock to finish outside or above the wild card spot. So how did they get here, Ken?
Yeah, Barney, it's a great question. Last time we talked, I think I was in Detroit, and the Jets were seemingly battling for first overall in the West, and now they're scratching and clawing just to get 8th. So they sort of went a bit sideways in a couple areas. Their goal scoring dried up quite considerably, and we talked about the concerns about complementary scoring at that time, but their primary scorers kind of went cold for a stretch. Their power play has been in the futility range, now 1 for 36, but it's been tough for about 2 months overall. And even though the Jets got healthier and conceivably should have improved their lineup, their quality of play in terms of their defensive structure kind of slipped a little bit, and their offense kind of dipped. And next thing you know, they're really struggling. In the last, they had, prior to the outburst, they had 9 goals in 7 games, and no matter who you have in net, even if you have a Vezina caliber netminder, you're putting a lot of pressure on the masked men if you can't put the puck in the net. So they've been a little Jekyll and Hyde here for sure, and we'll see which version shows up for this game against an equally desperate Calgary Flames team that really coughed up a hairball, to borrow the phrase of our colleague Elliot Friedman.
We're talking to Ken Wiebe, Sportsnet contributor, co-host of Kenny and Rennie. Who's got the most pressure tonight going into this game individually for Winnipeg? Would it be Kyle Connor? Would it be Scheifele? Pierre-Luc Dubois? Who's feeling it right now?
Yeah, it's a great question, Nick. Basically, all 3 of those guys kind of had a pressure release, to be quite honest, on the weekend. They had all been struggling to a certain degree offensively. Connor had 1 goal in 14 games going into Friday's action. He scored an important tip-in goal and got himself and his legs really motoring. Mark Scheifele had no goals in 9 games and came up with an important goal in a 3-point weekend. So I feel like he was able to get himself going as he moved to the wing on that line with Dubois and Connor. And then Blake Wheeler got himself going too, Kipper. That was a big thing for the Jets. He had gone through a bit of a tough patch on the road trip, 21 games without a goal. He had a pair of multi-point games and kind of hopped in, to borrow Valley's term. He jumped in the old hot tub time machine to about 5 years ago and really got his legs going on the weekend too. So that top line's been loaded up, but the undercurrent to that is that it allowed a line of Vladislav Nemesnikov with Blake Wheeler and Nikolai Ehlers to really shine as well. So they weren't just even though they put most of the eggs in one basket, they got complementary and balanced scoring. Out of those 12 goals, 11 were at even strength, and they got goals from all the lines, including a fourth-line penalty shot goal from Morgan Barron. So I don't think any of those 3 are necessarily under pressure, Kipper, but for lack of a better term, we know what's at stake here, and we know that Mark Scheifele was one of the players Rick Bowness was talking about when he said he needed more from his top guns. So I would say that it's an opportunity for that line to have a bit of a statement game here, because we know they're probably going to see a lot of the Lindholm line. And if they don't see the Lindholm line, they're going to see the Kadri line. And we know that after things didn't go well last night, I would expect a big game from Nazem Kadri after a couple of costly turnovers in that tough loss to Chicago. Pardon me.